Okay, so day two of the second test between India and Bangladesh at the Green Park Stadium, Kanpur, has been called off without a ball being bowled. So far, only 35 overs have been possible across the 2 days of the second and final test between the two Asian teams. And what this really means is that if I have to look at the larger picture, that India obviously this match is heading towards a draw, but yeah, pretty much if let's say if tomorrow also rain is predicted, and if tomorrow also results in a washout, then definitely we are heading towards a draw, unless Rohit Sharma, I'm not sure, okay, that was a different case, but then Rohit Sharma would want to do a Steve Smith. So like there was a thing with Australia. I remember Australia and West Indies in one of the test matches around 5-6 years back, when Rain had played a majority of the part in a test match, and Steve Smith, the then Australia captain, he had approached Jason Holder, who was the then West Indies captain, that let's just do one thing, that we'll forfeit our first innings, and then in the second you also like maybe forfeit one innings, and depending upon the kind of score that you have had in your innings that you have played so far, you'll set us a target of about 370 in 70 overs. And that's a fair ask. But then Jason Holder did not agree. So will Rohit Sharma do that? I'm not really sure about it.
Yeah. I don't quite think that's happening, an exhibition of that sort. But to put it simply, the last day and a half in this test match has been a bit of a dampener. Dampener to the extent that play was called off early yesterday, and much the same today as well. In fact, today even worse, because you didn't even see a single ball being bowled yesterday. At least you saw 35, 36 odd overs. Today, not a single ball being bowled. What we saw from the limited visuals that were on offer from the broadcaster today was visuals of there being some rain, which stopped after a while, but it had overnight rained enough, and there was a thunderstorm yesterday. There's a thunderstorm prediction for later in the day as well. We were telling you about there being as high as an 80% chance of rain till about 3 o'clock. While the rain wasn't there at the moment, still the ground was wet to an extent that play could not be resumed. The players were not in the stadium also. They had come in the morning as per certain reports, but then they went back and they weren't to be seen at the Green Park Stadium over the last couple of hours. That's number one. Number two, the Super Soppers. Two Super Soppers at the Green Park Stadium. Both were, and because the entire outfield was covered, the Super Soppers were busy trying to drain out the water, soak in the water that was collected on the top of the covers. The covers had puddles of water formed, and the Super Soppers were plying on the covers just to ensure that that water was soaked out, soaked in, and you could get the covers ready to be taken off the field. So that is all that we saw today. The umpires also did not come out and do the kind of inspection that they did yesterday, where they were looking at certain parts of the field which were not ready at that time. They were damp, and that's why you saw play start at 10:30 yesterday. Today, the umpires, because it was visible from a distance that things were so wet, the entire outfield was covered, and you needed time to dry up the covers, that the umpires also did not go into the middle and check what the conditions were like. So as a result, from good more than 3 hours of when it was expected that play would end today, we've seen play be called off. So that's all that we saw today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is kind of a dampener, obviously, not just for the fans, but obviously for the players also, because as far as I think the Indian cricket team is concerned, you would have liked maybe some quality practice for the likes of Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and even the bowlers also, because that it's a big test season coming ahead. Then ahead, it's going to be 3 more test matches versus New Zealand, then the Border Gavaskar Trophy also 5 matches. So knowing that it's going to be a stiff challenge against the likes of New Zealand bowlers and the mighty Australian attack, well, India would have liked some more batting practice. But then let's hope that the weather improves in the next few days, and it is really the Indian batters can really maybe have one more innings or one more shot at before they go on to face the likes of Tim Saudi and company.
In fact, the one thing that is interesting in this test match is what is that you can expect the following days. So remember, we done a story yesterday also telling you about what is it that the weather is in store, or what the weather prediction is for Saturday. Today what we will do is, and we'll do that let's say after 5-10 minutes in this chat, we do intend to spend some time with you. We'll give you what it is that's doing the rounds on social media, what is it the BCCI has to say. We'll also do a live demonstration of what is it that you can expect from the weather tomorrow. We will show you those projections live on this chat. So be with us as we look forward to answering those questions. Some of you asking what is it that you can expect from tomorrow. So we'll try and we will try making our guesstimates as to what is it that can be expected tomorrow on the field. Obviously, everything happening over the ground is something that's beyond our control here at Sports Day. So we'll tell you what is it that we can expect, because you're looking at this as a truncated test match. There were overs lost yesterday.
Yes.
55 overs odd lost yesterday. Today as well, there's not been a single ball bowled. So in that case, it's interesting to see what is it that you can expect. It's time we do try and see what is it that the outcome of this test match can be in this truncated test match. Let's spend some time talking about whether a result can still be forced or not. Can there be a result in this situation? So we'll do that in just a bit, but before that, let's tell you what is it that the BCCI has to say on their social media handles right now. So that's what the BCCI Twitter account looks like. You see that the post from 5 hours back, that's where they told us that the start of the play has been delayed. They then go ahead and share this picture as well of the entire outfield being covered. There you see that image on your screen right now. The entire outfield at the Green Park Stadium was covered by the UPCA. Very limited fans over there as well, but in this picture as well you don't get to see them, because they also tried taking some sort of shelter underneath the roof over there. The umbrellas were out is what we saw, and that's what the BCCI gave us a glimpse of. This is again early parts of the day, but that cloud cover, look at that cloud cover. It's courtesy that cloud cover, the thunderstorm prediction as well later in the day. It just sort of it's courtesy all of that you see the entire stadium or the entire pitch there being covered at the Green Park Stadium. Let's tell you more. Let's move forward and tell you more. What is it that the BCCI then had to show? Well, that's the last update. In fact, play being called off. That's what it says. And 14 minutes ago, no play was possible. That's the picture that the BCCI put out. So in such a scenario where there's been very limited game time, 2 days done and dusted, you don't have a buffer day, there's no reserve day for this test match, as much as India would have wanted, because this is the kind of series where you would want to take as many points as possible, leave as little as possible for the World Test Championship final, leave very, very less for the BGT as well, try and secure that place in the WTC final as soon as possible. But now what, Siddharth? When we look at the WTC table, and cricket fans, Indian cricket fans will now be wondering as to what now, because chances are there can still be a result. But chances are, as things stand, you're headed towards a draw. What happens in this scenario?
See, first of all, I think we have to take just one thing into consideration, that first of all, only 35 overs have been possible so far. So yes, Bangladesh have played some cricket. No play possible today. More than likely, they are going to be a very curtailed day tomorrow also, because there is prediction of rain tomorrow too. But that's where I think the interesting point comes in, that on the final 2 days of the test match, on Monday and Tuesday, well, the point is that the weather improves. So it is going to be, more of a sunny weather. There is going to be, a cloud cover, intermittent clouds. But then the good thing is that there would be some play possible on the final 2 days. So what it really does is that, first of all, if a result basically has to happen, let's say, if India win. So the point is that from there on also, India would then have to win maybe 3 or at maximum of 4 matches so as to confirm their spot in the WTC final. But if this match results in a draw, well, in a way it doesn't really dampen India's chances or affect India's chances majorly as far as the WTC final is concerned, because then you still have 3 matches against New Zealand, and if you go on to win all the 3 matches, then in Australia you would either have to win a couple of matches there, or maybe just make sure that if you win one, then draw at least a couple of more matches there. I'm going to do a more detailed video on this after that. But then the point is, it doesn't massively affect India's chances as far as the WTC final is concerned.
And of course, you're going to be backing yourself to win all 3 now.
Absolutely.
Given the kind of form that New Zealand are showing with the bat, we saw an ultimate collapse of sorts from New Zealand today at Galle. So when you look at that opposition, and of course India, Sri Lanka, there's a gulf that I see in Test cricket between the two nations. India would be saying, okay, maybe we can make it 3-0 in that series.
Absolutely, and I think that is what the Indian team would have been gunning to do, because ahead of the beginning of the series against Bangladesh, India they basically had to win a total of 5 matches and draw 1, so as to secure a place in the WTC final, or at least all but secure a place in the final, because then if it would have actually ensured India that they finish with a 0.7 percentage of more than 60%, which should be more than enough to secure yourself a place in the final 2 for the 3rd consecutive time. But now the only positive is that a draw does not massively affect India's chances. Had there been a loss, then obviously things would have been different.
Yeah. So let's just have a look at how the how it stands on the WTC points table. Let's show you the standings. India right up top, perched on top of the points table. Talking about Sri Lanka, well, Sri Lanka number 3. They're the other team in action, in contention. Their chances have taken a considerable boost. But look at New Zealand, started in 4th place, but they may as well stay there. However, a result here and there for them, and of course they're slated for, or they're headed towards a big loss in Galle. Well, that's going to dampen their chances quite a bit.
True.
But India stay right up top. Even if this match was to be a draw, India will stay right up top with about 71% points. So that's how things stand on the points table.
And also, as far as Bangladesh go from here, I think the draw in a way benefits Bangladesh to an extent that they would keep their hopes alive of a WTC final.
They stay alive, yeah.
I think they would still stay alive, and I'll tell you why. Because before the beginning of this series, Bangladesh obviously had 6 matches remaining, 2 versus India, 2 versus South Africa, which is going to be a home series for them, and 2 versus West Indies, so and which is going to be an away series. So the permutation and combinations for Bangladesh after their win over Pakistan, 2-0 win over Pakistan, was that they have to win at least 4, draw 1, and at max they can afford only 1 loss. So now the point is, they've already had that 1 loss in Chennai, and now if this Kanpur test actually results in a draw, what this means is that Bangladesh's fate would still be in their own hands. What they'll basically now need to do is that they'll have to basically win all their 4 matches so as to stay in contention.
Yeah, not that difficult, right? Beating South Africa.
See, beating South Africa,
but the good thing is they're playing at home.
Yes, that is the point. And also, there are question marks about the tour also, whether it's going to go ahead or not, or whether it's going to be a neutral venue. I'm not really sure about it, because Cricket South Africa is still waiting for a security clearance as far as this tour is concerned, and if that happens, then obviously the tour is going to be going ahead, which is going to take place in the 2nd week of October. There are going to be 2 test matches, and facing Bangladesh in Bangladesh is never easy.
Yeah, well, the Indian team also had to fight it out. I remember that 2-match test series.
Yeah,
one in Mirpur, the other in Chattogram.
Yeah.
So the Indian team also had to work hard. If it wasn't for Shreyas Iyer in the 2nd innings, you were found in a very, very tough spot. There was Chattogram, I believe.
Yes.
So yeah, the Indian team also had to work hard over there. So visiting Bangladesh, never an easy thing. Even in white ball cricket, we We've seen that in the past as well. They're a very good team playing at home.
Yeah.
So that's been that as far as India are concerned, as far as Bangladesh are concerned. Nothing much to talk about in terms of cricket because we didn't see any of it happen. The players, as we were earlier saying as well, they'd come to the stadium, then they possibly went back, and last couple of hours, in fact, they weren't even there. Both sets of players want to be seen, so they didn't even leave the team hotel.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the main thing over here. Let's try and tell you what the weather is going to be like. We'd given you a gist of it earlier on. We're also doing these weather predictions. This whole series because it doesn't happen too often, but it takes me back to the time during the Asia Cup last year where the
in
weather,
Sri Lanka.
the weather had taken the precedence. So that's the nature of this series as well. So while we saw everything happen exactly the way that we'd also shown you as far as the prediction goes, it was earlier said that you may not see a single ball being bowled today. It's exactly how it has turned out to be as well. Tomorrow though, will things be any better is the big question on everyone's minds, and we're going to be lifting the lid over that in just a moment from now. What we're going to do is we're going to show you on AccuWeather what is it that they have to suggest, and in fact let me try and go there on the screen and show you what is it that you can expect from the Kanpur weather tomorrow. So this is where we are, 80% of rain chances as we'd earlier suggested as well. This was till 3 o'clock. Wait, let me just go there and show you.
You can go
time
by
by
the
time breakup over
there. Early thing.
Yeah, the early thing. Let me go there.
Yeah, and tomorrow.
So this is what it looked like. You see, till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it came down to 48%, and yeah, cloud cover. Look at that, 99% cloud cover. Cloud ceiling at 9100 meters. Things becoming humid as well over there. So this is what it looks like for today, but the day is gone already, and this has stayed true to what we'd expected yesterday. Let's move forward and tell you what is it that you can expect tomorrow from the Kanpur weather.
What you can do is just scroll down.
Okay.
Go to the early thing.
This is okay.
No. Go to the early thing. I'll tell you.
Wait. Pawan, can we just change the date?
Yeah. I'll tell you. Just go to the early thing. Yeah. Go down. Go down. Completely down. Yeah. Tomorrow.
Okay. Let's go to tomorrow and see.
Yes.
Look at that. So, okay, considerably lesser chances of rain tomorrow. Considerably lesser. You see 44% chance again today. The highest was about 80-85% till about 3 o'clock. That's what we saw today. Tomorrow though, it comes down to 44 by 1 o'clock in the night. So this is still 12 a.m. that we are showing you. So there's rain right from midnight. But let's move forward since we're doing an hourly thing. This gives us an idea of what we are to expect overnight. So there you see 39%, 43% right up till morning. There is chance of rain right up till 8 in the morning, a 43% chance till about 9. In fact, this is where the bad news comes in. While the expectation is that around that time the rain stops, however, the rain percent chance increases, chances of rain increase. It increases up to 47% by 9 a.m. It goes on to increase to 52 by 10 a.m. and by 11 it's more or less the same. So till noon you can expect the rain to be around in Kanpur. That's what it looks like. However, it's just percentages we're talking about, but I can tell you a 50% chance in that area is still a sizable chance. It's still a sizable chance as far as rain is concerned. So you are again looking at things get better around 1 o'clock. You see it comes down to 20%. It stays that way right up till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So the second half of the day does look like it's going to be better in comparison. However, the first half is when you expect the rain to be around with up to 50% chance of rain. That is what it looks like. Now in such a scenario, even if there's a 50% chance of rain, that's exactly what was, I remember, on day one as well. It stayed true. The prediction stayed true on day one of the test match as well. In such a scenario, if we are again seeing, let's say, rain till about noon, you lose another session. So that's effectively nearly 5 sessions of play lost.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
6 maybe.
Yeah, 6 maybe. And if you see the tomorrow's morning also, then I think you'll probably have maybe one more session. Let's hope that it does not really get spoiled because of rain. But then you would also, I think, have to take the predictions also into consideration, that even as Harshit also rightly pointed, that the rain is predicted in the first half of the day tomorrow. So maybe just one more session, but then let's say even if you have a total of 7 or at max 8 more sessions remaining, would that be enough to force a result?
Siddharth, I have my doubts because it's just too much time lost in a test match.
Yes.
I will just go back to what we saw in Chennai, where things were tricky with the bat, and on those tricky conditions as well, India needed some part of day 4 to get a result as well. Now these were told to be or touted to be easier batting conditions in comparison. When I look at that scenario, it looks difficult that you can then get a result if there is time lost on day 3, and that then effectively leaves you with another 2.5 days. So 2.5 days. So you've effectively not even gotten proper 3.5 days of cricket by the end of day 5.
True.
In that scenario, I doubt if you can really force a result. But I'd love to know your thoughts.
I think, even I feel that it's going to be tough to force a result unless obviously, Indian bowlers wrap up the things very quickly as far as Bangladesh's first innings goes. And that's where I think India would have to, maybe make sure that if they can get those wickets quickly, then, this match, pretty much becomes kind of a one-day match for India now. We will have to, bat very quickly, get those runs quickly, but then...
But have you seen that from India, ever adopt that approach where you're trying to force a result, play the way that you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I can remember this test against Sri Lanka that took place way back in 2017. It was held in Kolkata.
No, but a caveat over there. In WTC times, do you see, barring in England, who love forcing results? See, things were different prior to WTC. Now with WTC, every percentage point is crucial. Besides England, I don't see teams trying to force results the way that England do.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
And do we expect that from this Indian team? I doubt.
See, I think that they will go for the win. But, for that to happen, there's one thing that, I think that they'll definitely, make sure is that India would definitely have a change in batting order. So don't expect, Virat Kohli to maybe bat at number 4. You can basically also see a change in an approach wherein you have a Rishabh Pant batting in at number 3.
Rishabh Pant, I remember Gautam Gambhir's quote being misquoted. Rishabh Pant can open.
Yeah.
While he said that he can open things up, people just took that part which said that Rishabh Pant can open. But in this circumstance, in this scenario, does Rishabh Pant really open?
I think, it's possible.
But who doesn't then? Of course, Yashasvi, I think you are happy with the intent that he showed.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I think we see Rohit Sharma back in the old days, like he was batting at 5, 6, 7.
It's possible. It's actually possible because you would want to make sure, let's say, Bangladesh are 107 for 3. So if you can wrap up their innings in another 100 runs, there's a good chance that you will see a change in India's batting order.
I think.
Which you have maybe Rishabh Pant opening the innings. Then Gill is, absolutely fine at number 3. You can have Rohit Sharma at number 4. Because that's, I think, primarily going to be your top 4 only. Then, after that, obviously, you can have a Virat Kohli, then there's KL Rahul, Ravindra Jadeja also, or unless, want
maybe
to...
why not a Jadeja ahead of a KL Rahul?
Yeah, obviously, but then, in the past few, maybe couple of years or so, we have seen that, Jadeja's hitting ability hasn't really been what it really used to be like a couple of years back. So that's where I think you might just, want to try out Rishabh Pant there, and then who knows, if you want a pinch hitter in Test cricket, then you can have R. Ashwin also.
You could. Well, you could make him open. He's opening for teams in the TNPL. So he scored a 50 as well, I remember.
Yeah, he has a strike rate of over 135.
Yeah, so India does have options, but again, all of that will happen only if there is some game time. Today,
True.
Unfortunately, there wasn't any game time. So that leaves us with very little to talk about. Also, at the moment, we've tried encapsulating whatever there is going forward in this test match. It's time that we have a look at some of your comments and see what is it that you feel about how things stand right now. So let's start with Radhas Gupta. He says, talk about Kamindu Mendes. Well, we'll be doing a story on Kamindu Mendes, Raj, but his record 5 centuries in what, 8 matches?
Yeah. I think
Phenomenal.
It's exemplary, this guy is turning out to be. And I think the good thing is that so far, he played in England also, and that, there also he did really well. He's, since the time he has started to play for Sri Lanka, he was batting at number 7, but now he's been given a promotion. He's in at number 5, and very rarely it happens that, such, players like him, they go on to have a very terrific debut as far as, test cricket goes. So really hope that, he continues to, play like this only, but still very early days. We'll have to, also see that how he performs against the likes of, Pat Cummins and company. Then there is, Sri Lanka are also going to play, South Africa also. It's going to be an away series. So that's where I think his real test will lie. So if he can obviously perform there, get those big scores, and even say lead Sri Lanka to a victory, obviously there's going to be a lot said about him, a lot of good things.
Fit Monk says that this match looks like a draw, and if somehow New Zealand
Yes.
manage draw out of the 3 matches, then our WTC final qualification would be in trouble.
Yes.
In all of this though, if it's how Fitmonk says it could be, the buzz around the BGT is only going to increase.
Absolutely.
The more these results on the outside happen and India's chances, then India are forced to get those wins as well. The BGT assumes even more significance. There's even more excitement and buzz around it.
Yeah, I think before the start of this Bangladesh series, there was a chance that, that India might head to Australia, pretty much sealing the spot in the World Test Championship final, like pretty much, not 100%, because had you say maybe if you can like manage all 5 wins against Bangladesh and New Zealand, you'll have basically 1 foot in the the World Test Championship final, because then in Australia you would have just needed maybe 1 or at max a couple of draws there. But now what it does is that it does put India's qualification chances in a slight spot of bother. But what India like really need to do from here on is that just avoid any losses. Obviously, wins should be a priority, and it always, it has to be a priority for any of the teams, but you must avoid any losses in the 3 test matches against New Zealand, and obviously in the ongoing Kanpur test, assuming there is a result here. Because a loss would actually put you in a more, in a bigger spot of bother than a draw would.
Okay, Saswat has a question. Says that rain is fine, but what about the world-class drainage system? But I don't want to be the one to answer that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what Mitrang Shukla says, because he says that he wants to clarify that he practices at the Green Park this time, and there's been a huge investment in drainage cover which were brought, and it's because of the continuous rain overnight. However, can I also tell you that as far as state-of-the-art facilities are concerned, as far as the very best out there, while the covers may have been brought, new covers, even I got to know that certain reports suggested that those newly bought covers were in fact from Delhi and all, but I can tell you that Green Park has been in a poor state for quite a while now. It's not great to see that a stadium on the eve of the test match, reports emerge of a part of the stadium being unfit or unsafe for the fans. That's not what you expect from an international stadium. It needs an overhaul. It needs some sort of revamp. We are not quite sure when that will happen, but with other alternative venues popping up in Uttar Pradesh, perhaps you're seeing the last test match or maybe the last international match for a while now happen over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even the players have been reported to not have been happy with this
facilities.
With the facilities here, and obviously the stadium grabbed a lot of controversy even before the start of the match also, when we spoke about the floodlights thing, or whether that balcony C stand being not completely ready, being fragile. So yeah, it does not really look good for Green Park, because you already have Ekana waiting in the wings. Absolutely.
True.
Yeah.
Pawan, any more comments?
Frickin' awesome, I think, has a comment that Sri Lanka have played much better but don't come to any conclusion in ODIs. We played there in the current test series against New Zealand because historically we didn't do great in Colombo in ODIs. Yeah. Any more comments, Pawan? Maybe. Yeah, Harish Selvaraj has a comment that who will be your favorite going into the BGT and your scoreline prediction for that, and key players from. See, I'm going to keep the scoreline prediction, I'm going to hold my horses for now. But who will be your favorite going into the BGT? I am going to back India to make it 3 in a row.
Oh.
Yes, I'm going to back.
But we can name the key players.
Yeah, absolutely. For me,
let's name 3 each. Does he want us to name any particular
number?
Let's name 3 each.
Yeah, for me, I think, assuming fitness is not an issue. For India, number 1 is obviously going to be Jasprit Bumrah.
Okay.
With him, your chances always increase by 20-30% more. Rishabh Pant and Yashasvi Jaiswal. These 3 players from Australia. For me, it's going to be key players from both sides, he says. Usman Khwaja.
Okay. Steve Smith the opener or the middle order batter?
It's going to be a middle order batter, but for me, I think it's going to be a very uncanny pick that I'm going to have. Alex Carey and Pat Cummins.
Alright, so my 3 for India, number 1, Jasprit Bumrah.
Okay.
Number 2, Virat Kohli. Number 3, Rishabh Pant.
So 2, we have similar options.
Australia, I'll go with Steve Smith. I am also going to go with Josh Hazelwood.
Okay.
And Pat Cummins. So 2 bowlers. I've gone to 2 bowlers. Alright, so yeah, that answers your question. Whose was that? Harish Selvaraj.
Yeah. Okay. Any more comments, Pawan? Can we just scroll up or down? Yeah, Vaibhav Tarage has a comment that credit goes to Bangladesh for their great recovery. Absolutely, after 29 for 2, which dragged this game for a possible draw, they would have easily been 107 for 6. Even I, pointed this thing that figures don't really show how great the Indian bowlers bowled. There were plenty outside edges that did not carry, and obviously on any other day, someone like a Bumrah, it happens very rarely in Test cricket that he finishes a day without a wicket. It happens very rarely, and I think it was just one of those unlucky days for someone like him that he could not really get a wicket. But then so far, whatever we have seen from the likes of, I think, Akashdeep, I think there are promising signs, and heading into the Border Gavaskar Trophy, who knows that Akashdeep could very well be one of your most important bowlers as far as all the 5 Test matches
but
are concerned.
I'm growing, I'm not just growing fond of the guy, I definitely see him going for the BGT.
Yeah.
Whether he starts or not is a different conversation altogether, with Siraj also struggling a little at the moment. However, I know this Indian team will back Siraj ahead of Akashdeep, but again, such good promise in just a couple of Test matches. You have to be taking him. Even if, just imagine if he does make it to the 11, if there's Shami as well, just imagine that's like having 2 Shamis bowled from opposite ends.
Exactly.
Could also be the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. We thank you for joining us. We thank you for giving us your valuable time, being with us in the coverage of a not so exciting day 2 of this Test match. Much like day 1, a bit of a dampener, a bigger dampener in fact, I should say, because you still saw about 35 odd overs yesterday. Today, we did not even see a single ball. But our coverage here on Sports Day of this series will continue. There's a story coming up about the Bangladesh fan who has now made a U-turn. So,
and I'm also going to do a proper, video on how a possible draw would affect India's World Test Championship final chances.
So all of that coming your way. In case you haven't already subscribed to us, please do that right away. Tell those in in your circles who are just as big of cricket mavericks that we are, to subscribe to the channel as well. Do put in a good word for us. Tap that bell as well to stay updated whenever we have a new offering for you. And for now, allow us to take your leave. Thank you. Bye bye. Take good care.